So I've had a lot of people asking me recently, not specifically on YouTube, but just in general, what the plan is for this girl, because obviously I have not been riding her recently. The last time I rode her was kind of like early summer, because she then in the fall she had a regression in her training. If you're interested in hearing the long spiel about that, there's a video I will link here, or maybe it's here, I always forget which side it is, somewhere up there, and I'll link it in the description, which was an update on Polly from a few months ago on just kind of how everything was going. And basically she had a full regression, so we've gone back to like really solidifying the ground manners, the groundwork, all of that stuff. And it's been going well. She's been doing well. But our goal is to hopefully get her back to riding in this summer. And it won't be like really good. It's going to be like, I mean, the goal with her was never to do like hardcore riding. I mean, obviously she's a Percheron. Like, she's not going to do that. She's not built for that. And that's not what I want from her anyways. The goal long term for her is mostly trails and, you know, a couple working rides here and there to help her build muscle and move well. But the long-term goal is just a happy, content, safe trail horse. And honestly, above all of that, the goal is just for her to be healthy and happy and live a good life and feel good. That's really all that matters to me. But work-wise, the goal is trails. I have a friend who's going to be helping me out with that, because when basically Polly needs to relearn all of her commands. She's never lost the ability to have somebody on her back. Like, I could sit on her right now, and honestly, she probably would not give two shits about it, but she would not know what my leg meant. She would not know what rein meant. She doesn't know those things. She was never taught them properly, and so now she's basically completely lost an idea of what they mean. But we have started teaching her what like pressure from the ground on her sides, and what like flexion to her lead rope means. So we'll use her lead rope kind of as rein. And in the coming weeks, I think I'm going to do some more videos with her now that it's getting warmer out, and I'll show you what those exercises look like, because it's basically, they're really good starting exercises that I think everyone should do before they teach their horse how to be ridden, is teach them what everything means from the ground, so that when you get on, you've got those aids to help you out. We've been teaching her those, so we started with that. But especially once I first get on, I'm not going to expect her to like have all the puzzle pieces together. And so in the first, couple weeks, it's probably going to be like when my trainer is out here, I'll be on Polly, and then she'll be on the ground basically as the backup, because Polly is the kind of horse where if you're on her and you want her to turn right, but she doesn't want to turn right, you're not going to be able to force her to turn right. Like, even when I used to ride her with a bit, I changed her to bitless because she's not more responsive with the bit. She's actually, I find that she responds better to the bitless, but that's not the point. But even when I had her in a bit, if I tried to turn her one way and she didn't want to go that way, like, you can't crank her nose. Like, I can do that with a smaller horse if I need to, but I can't do it with her because she is just physically so strong, even though she's incredibly under-muscled, and her neck is so short that you can't get that like point of leverage with her. So if there's no one on the ground to like back your cues up, you're not going to accomplish anything. So in the early days, it's going to probably have to be me on the horse, and then my trainer on the ground as the backup, basically leading me around like a little lesson kid. That's what we did last summer. But last summer, I didn't have anybody that could help me. I can't remember which side of her body I was brushing. But last summer, I didn't have anybody who could help me out on the days when my trainer wasn't here. So things were really slow to progress because I could only really do the riding work with her on the days my trainer was here. But now, through the horse that I've been co-boarding, I've got a friend who is going to help me out with that, because she really wants to go out on trails, but the horse that we both co-board is not really trail friendly. But I was like, hey, if you want to basically just be a body and like sit on Polly and like do the basic like leg on, leg off, like that kind of stuff, and like I'll back you up, like I would be incredibly appreciative if you could help me out with that. And she was like, yeah, I would love that if it gets me out on trails. So hopefully this summer I can do some work with her to really get Polly feeling good and confident, because Polly has seemed to enjoy when we took her out on some trails last summer, or just like walking around the property with this one really lovely woman and her horse, who is basically just like doesn't care about anything and is just like super chill, and like you can, apparently she's actually encountered wolves before and she was like, didn't like it, but she didn't freak out or anything. And I'm like, that is the energy we need Polly to to feed off of. So I'd love to get Polly to that point. What are you looking at? So that's the kind of thing also that we're working on, is there. A couple months ago, she probably would have continued to turn into me and just expected me to move. We need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of that expectation that she can just do whatever she wants and can move anyone out of the way to do it, because that is a dangerous habit. As much as we want her to have say in what she's doing and her life, she doesn't get to be the leader. She doesn't get to be in charge, because her being the leader and being in charge usually results in at least one of us being injured, and usually it's me. And let's just say I've been injured enough times that I've had several people question why I still have her. So we're not doing that anymore. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. I want her to be able to express her opinion and tell me what she wants, but I also need her to recognize that just because she wants something doesn't mean that we can do it right that second. You know, she might be like, I really want to go eat this grass. Like, and you know, most of the time, I would be fine with being like, okay, yeah, let's go get some grass, if I'm the one telling her to do it. But sometimes she's going to be like, I want that grass. And I'm going to be like, girl, you got to go get your feet done. And like yesterday, she got her feet done. And like yesterday she got her feet done, but she was very sassy yesterday and she really did not want to get her feet done. She was really focused on going back to her paddock. So we were doing her right outside of the paddock, and she threw a temper tantrum. She threw a hissy fit. And so my farrier has been trimming Polly for as long as I've known Polly. And so I basically took her with me from the old place, and she was like, she actually thought it was so cool to see Polly throw this tantrum, because keep in mind that when she first met Polly and when I first met Polly, it was like she was, you know, no life behind her eyes, dead eyes, like absolutely no reaction to anything, no personality, nothing. And so when she basically out of nowhere yesterday, she threw this buck, which is the biggest buck I've ever seen her throw. Like, I actually didn't think she was capable of throwing a buck that big, and she did it with like no momentum, no lead up. It was just from standing, and then she threw a bit of a tantrum, and we ended up, you know, my trainer got her back, got her listening, and we finished up her feet, kind of like bare minimum of what needed to be done. But like, she threw that tantrum, and it's like, okay, you were telling us up until that point that you didn't want to do it by, you know, pulling your foot away, whatever, trying to walk away, and then that was your, I really don't want to do this, which I appreciate and I recognize. But just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean that you don't have to in this moment, right? Like if she did that about like, I don't like trails, I don't want to be trail riding, blah, 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 then I would listen to her and I'd be like, okay, then you're not a trail horse. But certain things are non-negotiable. You have to get your feet done every 6 weeks. You have to get your teeth done once a year. Like there are certain things that you just have to do. It's like, kids, sorry, you have to go to school, you have to eat your vegetables, but I'm not going to make you play soccer if you don't want to play soccer, you know?